All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unravel what is literally the most perplexing book in human history. We're talking about a text that just sat there, completely unread in a vault for over 6 centuries. It's a mystery that has completely captivated historians, linguists, and cryptographers alike, standing as this silent monolith of ancient knowledge that absolutely refused to give up its secrets.
For 600 years, you guys, this manuscript defined every single attempt at comprehension. It was hiding secrets that researchers are only just barely beginning to uncover today. Just imagine a document so completely alien to our understanding that generations of brilliant scholars lived, worked, and died without ever reading a single word of it.
And the crucial point here is that this wasn't just, a tough puzzle. It was an absolute unbreakable wall that defeated the greatest minds of modern history. It wasn't a matter of simply lacking the right software or historical context. The text itself seemed like it was specifically designed to just frustrate human logic.
I mean, we are talking about the world's most elite intelligence agencies, from the CIA to the NSA, along with world-class linguists and the greatest military code breakers ever known. They all looked at these exact pages and walked away completely baffled. If people whose literal job is cracking wartime encryption couldn't make sense of a 15th century book, you know the mystery runs deep.
So where did this even come from? Well, the origin of this whole modern fascination starts with the 240-page handwritten anomaly. It was discovered back in 1912 by a rare book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich, just tucked away in an Italian villa. It dates back to the early 15th century, and it's completely filled with this unidentified script that no one had ever seen before.
Section 1. Inside the Bizarre Pages. A look at the impossible illustrations.
When you actually break down the manuscript, you find 4 incredibly strange sections. In the botanical section, we see hundreds of plants, but botanists have confirmed these plants literally do not exist on Earth. The astronomical section features star charts and zodiacs, but the constellations don't match our sky at all. Then there's the biological section, which is just wildly weird. Naked women bathing in green and blue liquid, connected by tubes emerging from these bizarre pods. And finally, the pharmaceutical section shows jars and roots paired with entirely unknown medical instructions.
Section 2. The Proto-Romance Breakthrough. The 2024 Translation Theory.
Jump to 2024 and we get this massive paradigm shift. University of Bristol researcher Dr. Gerard Cheshire drops a paper claiming, get this, the manuscript isn't a code at all. He argues it's actually written in Proto-Romance, which is an ancient, unwritten predecessor to modern Latin-based languages that was widely spoken across the Mediterranean. That explains exactly why codebreakers failed for so long. They were looking for a complex cipher when it was really just an extinct, everyday spoken language.
This is a huge flip. For decades, the old theory basically assumed we were dealing with some genius-level, unbreakable encryption meant to hide earth-shattering secrets. But this new theory, it argues for something surprisingly mundane, a lost, everyday spoken language used simply to compile a medieval healthcare manual. And when you look through that new lens, the wild visuals actually start making sense. If this manual was created by or for a community of nuns, maybe over in Ischia near Naples, then those impossible plants are just composite drawings of medicinal herbal blends. The out-of-place astronomy? They're lunar reproductive calendars. And those strange green pools are just therapeutic water flow systems used by these women for medicinal baths.
Now, I know a medieval women's health manual might sound a little, dry at first. But here is the kicker. This text actually outlines medical compounds and surgical techniques that Western medicine wouldn't officially discover for another 200 years. These women were practicing a level of healthcare that was entirely undocumented in the rest of the 15th century world.
Section 3. Visitors in the Night. The manuscript's most inexplicable protocol. Right in the middle of all this advanced medicine, the text takes a sharp, highly unexpected turn. It abruptly drops a protocol for dealing with entities it just casually calls visitors in the night. What makes this truly fascinating is that it completely abandons any religious explanations. In a book supposedly written by nuns, you'd totally expect references to demons or devils, right? But there are none. It's just a clinical, terrifyingly matter-of-fact approach.
The specifics they list are chilling. These are nocturnal beings that appear only while you sleep. You cannot physically touch them, yet somehow, and this is the really creepy part, they leave physical bruises and marks on the victim's body. The manuscript treats this not as a spiritual failing, but as a tangible affliction that needs a physical remedy.
So rather than recommending a prayer or an exorcism, the manuscript details this highly specific herbal compound you're supposed to take before bed. Its purpose? To literally render the sleeper completely undetectable to whatever these things are. The translation actually reads, "Make yourself invisible to them."
Section 4. The Modern Implications. Science, Skepticism, and Sleep Paralysis.
You know that terrifying feeling of waking up in the middle of the night, totally paralyzed with a heavy weight on your chest? Well, back in the 15th century, the Voynich Protocol outlined a literal pharmacological defense against these nocturnal visitors. Across the centuries since, we've seen global cultural myths describing shadow figures and chest pressure. Today, modern neuroscience neatly classifies all of this as a simple REM sleep transition glitch known as sleep paralysis. But it really makes you wonder, did this ancient community view a neurological glitch as a literal visitation that could actually be prevented?
As cohesive and fascinating as that narrative is, there's a strict divide today. The academic establishment is firmly pushing back against the 2024 translation. Critics argue that the methodology is heavily flawed, the proto-romance theory is far too convenient, and the conclusions are simply too neat to be true. It sparked this massive ongoing debate over what actually constitutes historical proof.
But here is what we know for absolute certain. Whether you side with the academic skeptics who say it remains unsolved, or you're all in on the proto-romance translation that cracks it wide open, the physical proof of this 600-year-old mystery is sitting right now at the Voynich Rare Book Library at Yale University. And, incredibly, every single page is free to view online for anyone who wants to examine it for themselves.
So as we close out this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Is this an encrypted mystery, a groundbreaking medical manual, or a secret we just weren't meant to uncover? I mean, did these 15th century women just write a mundane health diary, or did they possess knowledge about the night sky, the human body, and nocturnal visitors that we are literally only just beginning to catch up with? Stay curious and keep questioning what you see.